Extracurricular activities can carry your application to T20 glory, but you have to plan them perfectly. So here are 5 of the strongest extracurricular activities from worst to best, starting with art at number 5. And by art, I don't just mean painting. I mean literally any creative outlet you can point to. A YouTube channel, a music portfolio, a photography page, and the list goes on. I promise this isn't biased. The reason this sits at number 5 on the difficulty scale is that most students already have some version of this and just aren't packaging it correctly. If you make anything, and I mean anything, show the world. A student with a cooking channel at 3,000 subscribers tells a more interesting story than a student who writes enjoys cooking in their activities list, even if they have the same skill set and same interests. Whatever you're already creating, give it a home online, keep it updated, and treat it like a portfolio rather than a hobby. The one trap to avoid here is making content or art with no backstory, since admissions officers are looking for a storyline, so your creative work should connect to something larger about who you are and what you care about. But if you're not much of an artsy person, you're in luck, because number 4 takes you into the real world, and much closer to your T20 goals. And number 4 is getting an actual internship or job in whatever field you want to study. Most students assume that this is impossible in high school, but the barrier isn't age, it's skill. To get into this without any help from people you know, the single best strategy is cold emailing, and it works way better than you'd expect. Find 20 to 30 small businesses, local firms, or professionals in your target field and write them a short email, who you are, what you can offer them specifically, and a simple ask like a 15-minute call or a chance to shadow them at work. Make sure to send it to all 30, because you can expect most of them to ignore you, but you have to understand that literally one yes is all it takes. Small operations are probably your best shot because they actually have room for a motivated high schooler, and the decision maker is usually the person reading your email. Unless it's some dude that hates kids, then you're probably cooked. A student who cold emailed their way into a summer internship at a local firm and then built their entire essay around that experience is typically more memorable than someone who listed a school club in the exact same field, because it shows you can take initiative and operate outside of school, which is exactly what selective colleges want to see. Getting a real-world role is pretty hard, but once you get it, the application pretty much writes itself. But the next activity on this list takes a much different kind of hustle. It's way less networking and a lot more grinding, but it has a direct pipeline to some of the most selective schools in the country. And at number 3, we have elite STEM competitions, and this is one of the few activities where placing, even regionally, carries a concrete legible signal to admissions committees. Competitions like USAMO, USABO, and the Regeneron Science Talent Search are things that MIT, Caltech, and Ivy admissions officers look for by name. The students who do well in these aren't necessarily the most naturally talented, even though a lot are, but they're the ones who treat it like a sport and train every day without fail. Past tests for almost every major competition are publicly available online, and working through them consistently over several months is genuinely the entire strategy. Start in September, find the registration deadlines immediately, and put them on your calendar that same day. A large number of students miss competitions not because they weren't ready, but because they missed the paperwork window. And if you place at the national level in any of these, it changes the entire weight of your application. And unlike internships, this one doesn't require anyone else to say yes to you, which puts the results fully in your control. But what's coming next can completely alter the trajectory of your success. And it's all thanks to today's sponsor. Solomon Admissions Consulting operates exclusively with former college admissions officers, the people who used to make these exact decisions, to help students apply to the nation's top schools. Their clients are 6.3 times more likely to gain admission to Ivy Plus schools, a number verified by a top independent accounting and advisory firm. If you're serious about where you end up, a free consultation with one of their strategists is linked in the description. Thank you, Solomon, for sponsoring this video. By the way, if you're watching this, you're probably tired of waiting for the right chance to build something, so this next activity will allow you to do just that. And at number 2, we have starting a micro business. On the bright side, you don't need much upfront money or investors. You just need an audience of people that share a common need, and a skill set that allows you to fulfill that. Some examples of past student businesses are tutoring, pastry baking, and even apps and websites like Gimkit. With micro businesses, the specific idea matters way less than the process that you go through to build it, so get started as soon as possible. Before I share how to start one, you want to spend a week figuring out who your customer is, what they want, and what they're not already getting from competitors. And this is called finding a gap in the market. Once you find it, build the simplest version of your product and market it like crazy on Instagram, flyers around town, direct outreach, or wherever your audience can be found. The reason this ranks so high is that it produces a story almost no other applicant has. Students who build these in high school can paint themselves as entrepreneurial, trustworthy, and ambitious. 3 things that are rare in a pile of applications full of random clubs. Revenue matters way less than the personal arc, so if you don't make $1 million in your first year of the business, you're cooked. You're gonna be okay. The arc is really what colleges are actually investing in. And since we have starting a micro business at number 2, I saved number 1 for the extracurricular that has gotten thousands of students into their dream colleges and programs. And it's the one activity that most directly mirrors exactly what you'll be doing in college: research. At number 1, we have research, and here's exactly how to get into it without any connections. First, you'll want to narrow your topic down to something you actually like. Then go to the faculty pages of nearby universities and find professors working in that area. Their emails are usually public, so you'll have to do some digging. Write them a short note, reference one of their actual papers by name, and ask if they have room for a student researcher or know someone who does. Most will probably ghost you, but some won't, so you want to make sure that you keep in contact with the people who respond. If you can't get a university placement, high school research journals exist and they actually want submissions. And the Regeneron competition accepts independent projects, not just lab-based science. What research signals to an admissions committee is the highest version of intellectual curiosity. Not that you're interested in a subject, but that you actually had an unanswered question and did something about it. That framing for your application is exactly what universities are searching for. And just like every other extracurricular on this list, you can start right now.